today I'm going to show you the brief history of Europe, but since I don't have that much time, so I only introduce your history from the classical period to the Middle Age. The history of Europe is not a story about one country, one race. It's separated into several countries, several kinds of cultures, languages, and religion. So now let's begin. As you can see, here, this is a map of Europe. So now we are going to go back to a time before Jesus. Okay, now we are here. At a time, before the 1st century, there were two cultures nearby the Mediterranean Sea. The first one is Greece, and another one is Rome. At the time, Greece was not a united country. Instead, there are several city-states there. City-states just like our school clubs today. For example, you can join Masters, you can join physical club, you can join guitar club. So people live in Greece at a time can join any city-states whenever they want. The Greeks believes that the beautiful world they see is simple, logical, and can be understood by mass. So they spend a lot of time thinking, trying to figure out some simple answers to explain everything. So they have great achievements in science and math. On the other side, in Italy, Romans are good at building, fighting, and law. But at the same time, they are quite modest. So they are willing to learn things from other cultures or the society they conquered. So when the first time the Romans met the Greeks, they felt the Greeks are much more better than Romans in science and math. So after this Roman Empire was built, the Romans like to send their children to Greece to study, just like today we send our children abroad. Or they will just hire or buy a Greek slave at home to teach him. So later on, these two cultures combined together and became the first element of Europe. The second element of Europe happens here. Jesus founded the Christianity. Christianity came from Judaism, but they are different. The difference is that only Jew can become a Judaist, but everyone can become a Christian. Christians believe in their only God, so they will never bow down in front of the emperor of Rome Empire. But at the time, the state of emperor is the same as God, so the emperors started to persecute them. Unfortunately, a miracle happened. One emperor called Constantine became a Christian, and after that, the Christianity became the only legal religion in the whole empire, and the church became a powerful institution. So now we are going to go to the north. In the north, a group of people live there. They love fighting, they love war, but they are not Sayaran. They are Germans. Germans love fighting. They fight for food, fight for woman, fight for honor, and loyalty. But these guys, they can't tell the difference from A to B. And these guys are the third element of Europe. So now you may ask, why are these three different kinds of things become the element of Europe? There must be some relationships, right? So the story is that in the 5th century, the Germans started to migrate from north to south. They brought their children, their wife, their whole family migrate into Roman Empire. But actually, they are not a good guest. Imagine that. Someone go to your house, they just eat your food, beat you, and they will never earn money for you. They clean your house. Actually, this is what they did. Germans go to the Roman Empire, and they pay no taxes. They didn't follow the rules. And most of all, they like to rob their neighbors. So Romans hate them, and send armies trying to turn them off. But at the time, the Roman Empire was so weak, so they cannot do it. After that, more and more lands be occupied by Germans. And finally, the Rome government found there's no places for them to rule. So it collapsed. Also, the Roman Empire collapsed, but the church was still very much alive. They sent bishop to talk to them and say, please just take the land and leave the rest to us, and we can help you to rule your country. These warriors, after these warriors conquered the whole Rome, they found that they have no idea how to manage the land they get. So they happily accepted the help from the church. And soon they were convinced and became Christians. So now the whole Western world became a Christian world. At the same time, since now Christianity became a widespread Christian religion, so they need to convince everyone to believe them. So they use the scholarship from ancient Greece and Rome to support their creed. So the religion is that after Germans moved to Europe, they support the church in Rome, and the church preserved the scholarship from Greece and Rome. That's the relation. And today we cut this time into half. We say that the time before the collapse of Roman Empire, the classical period, and the time after that until the 15th century, the Middle Age. In Middle Age, after several centuries, these German warriors became knights. Knights love fighting. They fight for women, fight for honor, and fight for loyalty. And today we call this kind of spirit the knighthood, 骑士精神. So later we can conclude that in the Middle Age, the church get the Germans become knights, and they use the scholarships to support their creed. So in the whole Middle Age, the Europe actually is ruled by the church. Well, I guess I can only tell the story to here, but now we can clearly see the whole why all this happens from the ancient to the Middle Age. So now let me ask you again, what are the three elements of Europe? The first one is the scholarship from where? Greece and Rome. And the second one is the Christianity. The third one are Germans. So that's all the story I can tell you today. I hope you can learn things from this history. Yeah, maybe always some very complex and boring, or whatever. Okay, thank you everyone. Go back to